So you may have heard the news about the reigning Capcom Cup champion and the EVO Vegas 2025 runner-up, Kakeru. And if you haven't heard, we're going to go ahead and get into it and celebrate the career of this amazing player. But if you've been paying attention to his appearances in tournaments, you might have noticed something was up with Kacadoo come the Esports World Cup 2025 groups, where he did show up to play on day one, had a 3-0 victory over Tachikawa, and then lost to Xiaohai 3-1, actually busting out Sagat in that match. Xiaohai would go on to win the whole tournament. Punk would get the win over Kacadoo, and then have to eventually, go on through the bracket that way. And it was a little unusual that Kacadoo, who was the reigning champion for from Gamers 8 previously, not the previous Esports World Cup, but Gamers 8, one of the champions of this tournament, dropped out suddenly. He did eventually put out a post discussing his time and his issues at the actual event, where he made a post detailing that he was undergoing health issues at Esports World Cup, where his wife actually posted on his behalf. And since then, he did actually manage to do a few online gaming appearances. He was playing ranked, but people were concerned about Kacadoo and his health. And it wasn't really clear what was going on with Kacadoo, why he would drop out of such a big event for someone who just got second place at EVO Vegas. Well, come today, we have the final update regarding Kacadoo for the time being, that he is now officially retiring for the current time from competitive gaming due to neural dysfunction, is what the translation provides. Now, obviously, he's dealing with some health concerns. He's rather vague about the actual condition, so not much is known about what specifically he is going through, but that is his own private business. That's not something for us to pry into. He's just chose to reveal to the world that he has some kind of neural dysfunction going on, causing him issues with his competition, and has decided to retire. So what I wanted to do today is honor Kacadoo and highlight his amazing career, and of course cover the news about this and explain to those people who might not know why Kacadoo was such an influential figure in the world of Street Fighter 6 and his actual rise to becoming the world champion of this game. Now, of course, with his announcement that he's going to retire, he's not going to partake in both Street Fighter League and Capcom Cup. So Yamaguchi is going to take over for Zeta Division and take over his spot in the Capcom and the Street Fighter League team tournament. And as for Capcom Cup, because he's dropping out, they even cite the whole Pro Tour rulebook here and everything, section 5.3. The qualification is going to Angry Bird for placing 4th in Capcom Cup 11, which might seem kind of strange, but Blas, who got second, is now auto-qualified, and Lashar is auto-qualified like 3 times over into Capcom Cup 12. So the next highest placing player from that previous Capcom Cup who isn't qualified automatically at this point is Angry Bird. And Angry Bird here makes a statement saying he's grateful for the opportunity and shares some kind words regarding Kacadoo. There's a high chance Angry Bird was going to qualify anyways, but this helps Angry Bird get into Capcom Cup and frees up a slot for Big Bird to potentially take the regional finals for his region. And so that's how all the technicalities have shaken up. But let's take it back to Kacadoo's initial career. So Kacadoo actually did play a little bit of Street Fighter 4. I couldn't find any footage of him, but he did get a top 48, I believe, at Tokyo Game Show in 2015 with Akuma in Street Fighter 4. And back then, if you didn't know, he was actually competing under the tag Uzuda. And I got to personally meet Uzuda back in 2021 at Red Bull Kumite Las Vegas. So if you don't know, yes, I used to actually play the game. This is the photo for the top 8 qualifiers for Red Bull Kumite. And unfortunately for Uzuda, he did not make it into that top 8. But he did have the opening match of the entire event. And Uzuda, who later became Kacadoo at this time, played none other than Ryu. Here he is going up against NL in the first match of the entire event. NL would go on to make grand finals at this tournament with Cammy, who was considered really top tier at this time in 2021, and Ryu was by all means abandoned by the competitive community entirely at this point. No one played Ryu competitively whatsoever, and here he is at set point using the V-shift reaction to the V-trigger drill, and you can see NL like, oh no, And Uzura took the match 2-0. A young Kacadoo in the making here over NL in the cage at Red Bull Kumite, Las Vegas in 2021. And it's pretty interesting that he used V-Shift here to get this win. Kind of some foreshadowing of things to come, right? Like, very similar mechanic to what he would become known for in the future. So Uzura, who later became Kacadoo, put Ryu on the map in the end game of Street Fighter V when everyone had forgotten about this character at this point. And of course, we have the EVO moment of Uzura versus Kaba in the final EVO for Street Fighter V. Final game, final round between these two players. 10 seconds on the clock. Uzura down in life in the corner. Kaba trying to control the space. He finds the cross-up. No. Kaba throws him back into the corner. Upside down kick is not enough to kill. 2 seconds. Wake up. Dash forward into heavy DP to chase down the on Uzura's wake up V-shift from Kaba to get the kill. One of the most legendary moments in EVO Street Fighter V history. In the final EVO for this game, Uzura gets it done over Kaba with his Ryu. And another funny connection here, Kaba actually beat me, I think, right before this match. So I would have actually played versus Uzura had I won this match. But I did actually get to play him at Red Bull Kumite. He won the set versus me like 10-8 or 10-9, something like that. We had a really good set, Balrog versus Ryu. And Balrog, you know, as far as I was concerned, destroyed Ryu at that time. So I was really impressed with his level of play. And then I saw the moment with him and Kaba that made massive waves. Like the balls of this man to, oh, look at St. Cole again into the camera, to read this V-shift right here. Like, that is just so godlike. To just predict that V-shift on wake up dash forward. No invincibility on any of this. Just full commitment with the second left. There was nothing else he could do. So that was super godlike. So I knew he'd be a player to look out for come Street Fighter 6, but I don't think anyone was ready for how he would take the world by storm with one JP. Come Red Bull Kumite again, this time in South Africa, really shortly after the release of Street Fighter 6. I believe this is just a few weeks after the game has released. Here he is in the grand finals of the LCQ in South Africa, just completely killing the crowd. I mean, I think at this point people were starting to realize the problem that they have unleashed, because he was silencing the crowd. He just demolished Ending Walker, who was playing Honda at the time, with JP, and people were like, wait a minute, what is going on here? He even has a reaction level 2 through the spike, but it's not in time, and just completely demoralizes the audience. I mean, they're giving him the claps and showing some respect, but during the beatdowns, the crowds were very silent, and people were starting to realize, like, wait a minute, there might be a problem here. This is when we started to learn, like, hold on, this guy, both JP and both Kacadoo, might be a problem. He went from Ryu to JP and started to do work. He went on to then place about 4th place or 5th place in the actual bracket, and he ended up being eliminated by Big Bird in the actual tournament. But he did get big wins over Problem X, and he won another first 5 set as well. So he made a bunch of waves coming through the LCQ and put JP on the map in this event right here. But going on into EVO, which was also very shortly after the game released, he had an amazing run, and here he is in winners top 24 up against Mena RD, who is the player to look out for. Final game, final round between these two players. Backdash on the throw attempt. He's going to get the full level 3 conversion right here, and the winner of this is getting into winner's side of top 8. So you know it means a lot to both these players. Mena RD took out Daigo along the way to get here. He had one CEO already, and the Oki on the level 3. Kacadoo takes his win over Mena RD. Now, this would be the beginning of a very long back and forth competitive relationship between these two players. It's just the beginning, but of course, you know, he had a good run. He had a really close set against Angry Bird as well on the winner's side, got sent to losers, and here he is up against Tokido. Tokido, who should have lost already in that top 8, is fighting back here. Kacadoo on the verge of being eliminated. Final game, final round between these two players. Level 2 reaction to the fireball. He's going to get the punish here. Set up the portal. He's going to go for the mix-up. And the spike missed. And the super works. With the 1 in a billion miss of the spike here. Legendary moment where Tokido manages to take the set and eliminate Kacadoo from EVO top 8. You can see how much it hurts him in this moment, because we've covered this moment so many times. He goes for the reset here with the spike. This is the plot armor agreed from Tokido. The overhead connects. The spike is supposed to track where the opponent is on the screen. It has different variations with different angles to clip them. And for some reason, the spike just goes the completely wrong way. People have tried to recreate this. I've tried to recreate this. It's almost impossible to recreate the spacing where the spike does not track properly and hit Ken here to continue the combo and get the pickup from the overhead. Tokido should have been dead 99 out of 100 times. Easily. Then on top of that, Kacadoo, frazzled by the interaction, doesn't get the confirm, does OD slash here, and this is actually going to be considered a projectile, which would beat this level 1, but it just doesn't hit in time either. So many unfortunate interactions there for Kacadoo, and Tokido takes it, eliminating him from that EVO 2023. But he was not done yet. This is where Kacadoo said, hey, man, I'm here to play. Gamers 8, right? He shows up to Gamers 8. He dominates in his groups, takes out Daigo 3-1, VX Bao 3-1, Mena RD 3-2, and winners finals 3-0 over Angry Bird. And this is where he earned his title after this performance in grand finals. Let's just count the perfect parries. 14. Perfect. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It just keeps going. And let me correct myself. I said Kacadoo won the winners finals. He lost and goes to losers, gets the reset. 30, 31, 32 perfect parries. Kacadoo, after this moment, he wins the $300,000 prize, which I believe at this time was the largest prize in fighting game history. And he takes that tournament and earns the title Perfect Parry Prince, because no one at this time knew that you could even perfect parry this effectively. At this point, no one understood how strong this mechanic really was, and so people were caught completely off guard that you could actually play the game and shut down so many options like Dragon Lash and projectiles, and actually use that as a core part of your gameplay. He was far and above ahead of the curve in terms of this technique. And honestly, I still don't think I've seen a perfect parry performance like this grand finals. I think people have adapted their options to not use as many easily perfect parryable moves, but it was just a deconstruction of Angry Bird's approach with that perfect parry. And Kacadoo gets his first super major on the board. And as we go through the CPT season, it's funny. These two just cannot stop running into each other. We here at CPT Singapore in 2023, Kacadoo takes out Mena RD again. He took him out at EVO 2023, took him out at Gamers 8, and at CPT Singapore gets him again in this top 8. Kacadoo goes on to place, I believe, 5th in this CPT premiere, but doesn't win, because in this season it's winner take all. There's only auto qualifiers and then World Warrior regional qualifiers. So if you don't get first, you're actually last in these events. So he keeps having these strong performances, top 8 at EVO, top 8 in the premieres, and winning Gamers 8, but Gamers 8 wasn't a CPT qualifier at the time. Then we actually see here, I wanted to show this off. He can qualify via the CPT region for Japan, but he's having some issues here. Here's a funny clip from me back in the day. Let me show this off. Back when I was fanboying over Kacadoo in the CPT Japan. He needs to win this tournament as well to get into Capcom Cup.
That's why he's the fucking GOAT. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
How does it keep happening? My GOAT Kacadoo. Yeah, so somehow that happened, which is also a 1 in a million interaction. He could have ended the combo and killed him. He could have done a slightly different variation of the spikes to kill him. 1 in a million, somehow that Kimberly super got through. That super is not invincible. It does not. It should lose to those projectiles, but somehow it just all lined up so the super snuck through. There's ways to make that so it doesn't happen, but man, it's nuts how he managed to lose in that situation, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And in the end, Kacadoo was one of the most consistent players. Here's a chart I made about season 1 of Street Fighter 6. He was in 3 of the 4 super major premier level tournaments in 3 of those top 8s out of those 4. And the one that he wasn't in top 8, he didn't attend. He didn't make it to CPT France, I believe, because he was sick as well. So he made top 8 or won every single premiere that we had in the season, but he did not qualify for Capcom Cup at the end of it all. And in fact, when he goes to the Capcom Cup LCQ, he ends up getting double jeopardied by JB. And as one of the most consistent players and the absolute best JP on the planet, and the guy innovating the most and pushing the meta the furthest at this time, or one of the players doing so, he ends up not qualifying for Capcom Cup 10 at all, which is so shocking to see. But he does make it into EVO Japan shortly after, and here's a highlight from that. Kacadoo up against VXBOW in the JP mirror. They try to flex on each other. A little bit of a miscalculation there from Kacadoo. He didn't have the drive gauge, but check the reactions and awareness here. Godlike reaction. So at this point, you might be considering that Kacadoo is out of the game. There's no way he can defend. He has no super meter. He's in burnout in the corner. He has absolutely no way to stop a DI, except for the fact that he has the reactions of a god. Regular Amnesia is not frame 1 invincible. It's not invincible until frame 2. So he sits there and he has to react, and he gets the last second down input to react to the DI, get the counter, and move on. And he would take himself all the way to grand finals, where unfortunately for Kacadoo, but very fortunately for 1 Minute RD, Minute RD would win in the grand finals in dominant fashion, 3-0 over Kacadoo, finally turning the tables over Kacadoo, because Kacadoo was the person who gate-kept Minute RD from his EVO top 8 appearance. Minute RD went on to get grand finals versus Angry Bird and reset the bracket in EVO 2023. So who knows? Maybe if he had gone through winners, if it wasn't for Kacadoo, he would have won the whole thing. Now Minute RD returns the favor, and Kacadoo ends in second. But after this, you know, things aren't looking that great for the guy who put JP on the map, because, you know, if you don't remember, JP was public enemy number 1 during this time. While people gave Kacadoo a lot of props, people hated JP, and shout outs to Event Hubs for this little thumbnail image. JP was heavily nerfed going into season 2. So at this point, some people were saying Kacadoo, he might be done. It might be over for the JP poster boy who was cooking it up, but didn't quite get it all the way done. It didn't quite get that EVO Vegas or EVO Japan victory. Didn't quite qualify for Capcom Cup. But they forget this guy is also Uzura. He played Akuma back in Street Fighter 4, and he played a nasty Ryu in Street Fighter 5 when no one played that character. So come to Topanga League in the Season 2 patch, the first Topanga League for Street Fighter 6, he just picks up where he left off. He adds Akuma to the roster. He also adds M. Bison when M. Bison releases. And he was one of the most dominant players in Topanga League in the long set format against the best players in Japan. This is the final set of Topanga League. Kacadoo up against Momochi. And he's up 6-2. Gets the final throw, secures the set, and you can see the relief from Kacadoo in this moment. Now, at this point in the finals, after this match, Kakadoo's record is 5-1. This was a second place tiebreaker match, essentially, between Momochi and Kacadoo. Whoever won this match gets second, whoever loses gets third, because Kobayan delivered the only defeat to Kacadoo, and Kobayan went undefeated in the final stages. So he doesn't get first again in another major prestigious event, but manages to do really well without JP, just using M. Bison and Akuma. And he's awarded 1 million yen. So not USD. This comes out to be about like what 6,000 USD, 6,300. Kobayan takes the lion's share at 12,600 here. But, you know, once again, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing there with that million. So as we go on, you can see here, the season continues, and he's doing work without the JP, right? He actually wins the very first World Warrior event for Japan. Doesn't get any points in number 2, but in event number 3, he gets second with, once again, his Akuma and M. Bison. So he's doing really good in this season without having JP by his side, which is really impressive for the guy who put JP in the map. A lot of people thought maybe he'd be done without him. But after the midway season patch, they reverted some of the nerfs to JP, gave him his anti-air back, and he put out the tweet, "Sorry for making you wait, I'm back." Number 1 MR in the world with JP, and at the very end, when it came down to it, it was the final World Warrior event. in this season for Japan, you know, if you have the most World Warrior points by the end of the season, you automatically qualify for Capcom Cup. It was a 3-way race between Momochi, Kacadoo, and I believe it was also Fudo to qualify via the points. And so he needed to show out at this tournament if he wanted to get the auto qualifier. And he went to losers a little bit early, but here he is playing against Goichi, who was kind of the dark horse in the tournament, being a monkey wrench in the bracket. Gets the backdash shimmy there. Full combo conversion. You dare tech against the JP God? Look at the optimization. Cooking. So he goes through the tournament. He ends up getting this win over Goichi, but actually ends up ending the tournament in second place. If we look at it, Momochi ends up winning the whole thing, but because Kacadoo got second, he secured enough points in the end to qualify via the points leaderboard by 10 points over Higuchi. Sorry, I forgot Higuchi was the one leading this charge in this race. 10 points by the skin of his teeth. Kacadoo has finally qualified for Capcom Cup after getting so close in the previous season and being so dominant in so many major events. You get so close to getting in there. But Capcom Cup 11, that's a different beast. $1 million on the line, this time USD, not yen. As he goes into it, is Kacadoo going to perform to expectations? I mean, he just won the auto qualifier in the hardest region on the planet in Japan. Well, if you look at that top 16 bracket, man, he got 3-0 over Blas after Blas was destroying everyone in his groups. 3-0 over Noah the Prodigy. 3-0 over Leshar, who was many people's favorites at this point to win the whole entire event. And if we look at how this actually shook up, look at this match versus Leshar here, Kacadoo. Getting beat up. Level 2 from Leshar. He doesn't, no matter how much pressure there is, Leshar does not miss these dream combos. Getting carried to the corner here. Wake up amnesia. Level 1. Level 1. You sneaky bastard, Kacadoo. I love this combo. This combo actually isn't new. Many JP players used to use this all the time, including myself. I loved using this combo. This combo is so funny, but it's amazing to see this pulled off in Capcom Cup in the winners finals against the favorite to win it all, Leshar here. You know, after landing the safe jump on the amnesia, Leshar actually can move first, so he has the option to pressure Kacadoo to keep him pinned down before the bombs explode. Then he can block the bombs. And of course, the mind game here is, hey, what if I just level 1 right away? If you get hit by this level 1, I get a double level 1. If you block the level 1, you do get a punish on me, but are you really going to sit there and stare me in the face while you have the bombs on me? I don't think so. So gnarly sequence there from Kacadoo. And here is another nasty conversion, showing the power of the supreme awareness. One more time, check this out. He puts the portals down, right? Drive rush cancel from Leshar. But Kacadoo knows at this point the portals are about to pop. So normally there's a strike throw mix-up here. Do you try to tech a throw from Leshar, or do you try to block the offensive sequence? So instead of doing any of that, he just jumps. He just jumps, man. He says, if you try to throw me, I'm not going to tech your throw and get 0 punish. I'm going to jump. If you try to throw me, I'm going to jump. You're going to whiff your grab, and the spike is going to snipe you right there and give me a full combo conversion. Look at the drive rush in there. After the jump medium kick, puts on the portal again. Drive rush into grab to get the level 1 conversion. Nasty sequence from Kacadoo. And he ends up taking this set in the end, 3-0. And as it all comes down to the grand finals, Kacadoo versus Blas, the Chilean prodigy, 15 years old, going up against the world's greatest JP, the perfect Parry Prince. Kacadoo ends up taking the whole tournament from the winner's side in the sumo arena here in Japan, in his home country, after being denied so many times his qualification to Capcom Cup in the previous season, after narrowly getting into Capcom Cup in the first place by the skin of his teeth in the World Warrior point system, ends up taking the whole thing right there. And he became our current and reigning Capcom Cup champion, and a very well-deserved championship. It was in the making since the beginning of Street Fighter 6. The results were there. The talent was there. It was just a matter of time before it culminated in the biggest win possible in our scene. But he wasn't done there, right? He got right back to grinding. That's what I loved about Kacadoo. He definitely is in it for the love of the game. He was back to practicing right away and preparing, of course, for EVO Vegas coming up. You know, the Capcom Cup is big. Gamers 8 and Esports World Cup is big, but EVO might be bigger depending on who you ask. Here he is in pools of EVO Vegas this year, fighting against Fight Provoker Dulcim. It's a very interesting sequence coming up here. Looking for the whiff punish on the limbs. Snipes the teleport. Full combo conversion. Just the awareness from that, right? Sniping the teleport, the crouching medium punch towards heavy kick. Juggle out of the air into the level 3. So that's Kacadoo in pools there. Just a little highlight, a little taste of what's to come to show that he is not settling for that $1 million. He wants that title. He wants the glory. And he moves on from that match. And he moves on all the way into winners finals, where he does end up losing to Ben RD, but you know, to get back to that run back in grand finals, he has to go up against another young player, Mickey here. Mickey, who out of Hong Kong, 17 years old, was destroying the competition, very similar to Blas at Capcom Cup 11. And Kacadoo here says, you know what, don't worry, all you washed up veterans getting destroyed by the new kids on the block. I'm gonna do drive rush heavy punch into level 2, set up a quick little unblockable, no big deal. Oh, by the way, I just had a perfect. Y'all mind if I double perfect this 17-year-old real quick? He literally hits the Michael Jordan fuck them kids meme. Taking out Blas, taking out Mickey, destroying dreams of these young players looking to become world champions. He says, listen, the journey is just beginning. You have a long road to go. He's doing them a favor, right? You don't want to win too early, you know? Give him something to work towards, says Kacadoo. So he takes out Mickey in his run back to the grand finals, where there was, of course, the stare down between Kacadoo and Mena RD. These two have shared such a journey together. Early on in Street Fighter 6, Mena RD was looking to claim so many titles, and Kacadoo was a consistent roadblock to Mena RD until EVO Japan 2024. And in that match, Mena RD absolutely demolished Kakeru. But come this EVO Vegas, it was a repeat. Unfortunately for Kacadoo, it was once again a 3-0 in the winners finals and a 3-0 in the grand finals. Mena RD with his Blanca seems to just perfectly counter Kakadoo's decision making, his pacing with his JP. And since that moment in the CPT Singapore, where Kacadoo once again gatekept Mena RD from qualifying, he has been on a complete losing streak, 0-9 in the past 3 games. So Kacadoo has definitely found the tables turned in his rivalry with Mena RD. Currently 3-3 in sets, but it feels like Kacadoo is a long ways away from flipping the tables. But you know, with a competitor like Kacadoo, it was only a matter of time. So when Mena RD heard the news that Kacadoo is officially retiring to focus on his health, Mena RD here says, if only we could have played together for longer. We pray for your swift recovery. Please take care of yourself. And shares the artwork of the stare down between the two legendary players in our scene. And that's the tale of Kacadoo so far in the world of Street Fighter. Now he is embarking on a different journey, a journey of health and recovery. And I just wanted to really cover his story because I've been very inspired by Kacadoo. I've been a huge fan of his positive attitude, his gameplay, how he evolves the game, his dedication and hard work. And I'm just a fan. He's got aura, man. He plays the characters I like. I love the way he plays. I think he's a great champion for the scene. So I'm really devastated to hear that he's going through his own health struggles, but also really encouraged and inspired by the fact that he's making the decision to focus on himself and his own health. And I wish him all the best, to him and his family. And I hope he has a great and fulfilling journey ahead of him, wherever life may take him. So salutes to you, Kacadoo. Hopefully we all get to see you again sometime when you're ready to share with the world what's going on. We're looking forward to it. Take care.